we don't know how to measure the invisible weight people are carrying.
Right, which forces us to ask, well, how does someone even figure out how to measure it?
Yeah, because when you read an academic paper proposing a unified theory of relational physics, you naturally assume the author is, like, a tenured professor.
Right, someone who has spent 20 years running controlled lab studies with massive university grants.
But that is not Sean Rouse.
Not at all.
This is where the story gets incredible to me. He didn't build this framework in a pristine university lab. He built it out of sheer, desperate, raw personal survival.
His background is entirely non-traditional.
Yeah, completely outside academia.
But when you actually look closely at his resume, it is the exact background you would want for someone designing a systems-level theory of human behavior.
Walk us through it. He spent, what, 3 decades working at the intersection of tech, communication, and high-pressure environments.
Yeah. Back in the early 90s, he was at Pep Boys, managing high-volume customer operations.
Wow, Pep Boys. So literally dealing with human beings in states of acute mechanical and financial distress over their cars.
Exactly. People are stressed, their cars are broken, they have no money. It's a pressure cooker.
He also did set design for television shows, right?
He did, including The Price is Right.
Yeah.
So he was dealing with spatial constraints, physical structures, how things fit together.
But the really telling part of his background is his time in tech support and systems engineering during the explosion of personal computing.
Right. In the 90s and 2000s, working for companies like Xerox and C-Cube Microsystems.
So he was a human bridge.
That's exactly what he was. He was taking these highly complex, abstract microcode issues from software engineers and translating them into operational realities for CEOs and end users.
So he spent his entire career looking at how energy, information, and pressure flow through complex systems.
And where those systems bottleneck or break.
But the catalyst for all of this, the thing that forced him to turn that systems thinking inward, it didn't happen at work. It happened in his personal life.
Yeah. Between 2014 and 2018, the biographical profile notes that Rouse found himself in a live-in relationship with a covert narcissist.
And the sources outline this period as just a systematic psychological dismantling.
We're talking about severe gaslighting, emotional erosion, and basically a total loss of his own identity.
It was a structural collapse of his internal reality.
When he finally escaped that relationship in 2018, it took him 2 years of intensive recovery just to unlearn the abuse.
Just to get back to baseline.
Right. But during that process, his systems engineering background kicked in.
He couldn't turn it off.
Exactly. He began analyzing the actual architecture of the abuse, and he realized this dynamic wasn't isolated. It perfectly mirrored the malignant narcissism he had grown up with in his mother and brothers.
Now, a lot of people would reach that realization and just internalize it.
Oh, absolutely. They'd say, I'm just cursed, or I guess I just attract toxic people.
Or I'm just fundamentally broken. But Rouse didn't do that.
No, he looked at it mathematically.
It's just wild.
It is. He realized his instability in those relationships wasn't a personal moral failure. It was a structural dysfunction.
He hypothesized that human behavior isn't random. Toxicity isn't just this mysterious dark cloud that hovers over certain unlucky people.
Right. Behavior emerges predictably from the intersection of the pressure applied to a system, the internal capacity of that system, and the environment it operates in.
So he started building the early architecture of the relational operating system right then to map this out.
He did. But the ultimate stress test, the real crucible that proved the physics of his model, happened a few years later, in 2024.
The sources detail this event. They refer to it as the Reno incident, and honestly, it reads like a systemic horror story.
It was harrowing, but it is absolutely vital for understanding why the framework demands that we measure environmental pressure first.
So what happened? He was traveling through Reno, Nevada.
Right. He was with a partner who suffered from unmanaged borderline personality disorder, or BPD.
Okay.
And the partner experienced what is clinically known as a BPD split.
What is that exactly?
It's a sudden, severe shift in emotional perception where someone becomes entirely bad in their eyes. There's no gray area.
So his partner just turned on him.
Yes, and this escalated into a verbal dispute.
And as a result of that verbal dispute, Rouse was falsely arrested for a first offense misdemeanor.
Which is terrifying. But he knows he's innocent, so he does what any of us are taught to do in a functioning justice system.
He invokes his constitutional right to a jury trial.
Exactly. But this is where the environmental structure completely gives way. It just evaporates.
Yeah, he invokes his right only to discover that the local court system has literally zero record of ever holding a jury trial for this specific offense.
It isn't a functioning mechanism. It's a complete systemic void.
It's like pressing the brake pedal and there are no brakes connected to the car.
Precisely. And from there, it's just a cascade of structural failures.
His first public defender, get this, communicates with him for a grand total of less than 3 minutes over a 180-day period.
Less than 3 minutes in 6 months.
Then he finally gets a second public defender who completely fails to inform him of a mandatory in-person court date.
Right. And because he misses the date that he literally didn't know about, a warrant is issued for his arrest.
So now he's a fugitive.
Entirely due to attorney error.
Notice what is happening to the load here.
The external pressure is compounding exponentially.
Right, while his internal resources, his money, his time, his physical safety are being rapidly depleted.
By January 2025, he is trapped in this legal nightmare, and he's running out of funds.
And this is where it gets really dark. Just to pay his cell phone bill so he can stay in contact with the court system and try to resolve this bogus warrant, he goes to a clinic to donate plasma.
Which is a very physical, draining thing to do.
And this is the moment of physical collapse. He donates the plasma and his body just gives out.
His blood pressure plummets to 50/30.
Oh my God.
He blacks out, falls backward, and the back of his head impacts a concrete floor with an estimated 1,600 pounds of force.
He suffers a severe traumatic brain injury, TBI.
Right. So now the physical trauma compounds with the legal terror. He develops peripheral artery disease.
The sheer accumulating weight of the legal system's failure, the medical crisis, and the financial drain entirely overwhelm his structural capacity.
The system breaks. He ultimately loses his housing and ends up homeless.
He is living on the streets. He has lost literally everything. He has nothing but a smartphone.
But instead of entirely disintegrating, which, frankly, most people would do, he does something extraordinary.
He uses that smartphone to write.
He documents his own collapse. He refines the mathematical equations of the relational operating system while sitting on the pavement.
The framework wasn't just a fun theory to him.
No, it was his literal survival tool to make sense of the chaos that was actively destroying him.
It's a remarkable testament to the human mind's need for coherence. He was documenting the collapse of his own load-bearing structures in real time.
He could see that his environmental pressure was at maximum capacity.
And he could track how his internal capacity, his self-regulator, was critically depleted by the TBI.
Right, and he could see how his relational support had fractured. He wasn't theorizing in an ivory tower.
He was pressure testing the laws of relational physics at the absolute limit of human tolerance.
It's incredible.
It's like he was trapped inside a crashing airplane, and instead of just bracing for impact, he used the time to completely rewrite the laws of aerodynamics on a napkin.
That is exactly what it was. And the paper argues that this lived experience is the ultimate proof